Ooh. Ooh, this is fun. Yeah.
Oh my God. Wow. This is really cool.
Oh, look at all these particles.
What are you?
Are these titanium? Is this the iPhone 15 Pro?
Oh, wait, what's happening? It's forming.
It's forming. Whoa.
Hey, it's pulling me in. Ah! Whoa. Okay. Wow. That was pretty wild. So what are you here for? You want to come here because I'd love to talk to you about the features that really stood out here at the Apple event, the Wonderlust event, the things that I feel like are going to matter to me the most. We can't talk about every single feature here, but obviously we have the iPhone 15, the iPhone 15 Pro, the Apple Watch Series 9, the Apple Watch Ultra 2, and then the new AirPods Pro 2 with USB-C. So I think if we want to talk about what is going to make the biggest difference to most of us right out of the gates, you've got to talk about the iPhones and you've got to talk about USB-C. And I know that this is nothing revolutionary, right? So let's not, pretend like it is, but also how's this going to help us out as consumers? We know there's so many more USB-C chargers out there just in general. But I think the compatibility and the ability as Apple transitions over their accessories, being able to take something like my AirPods Pro 2, plug them directly into my iPhone and be able to share that charge, that is nice. I think the one thing that, as we're absorbing all this information is fast charging that was, associated with Lightning. I don't think we're getting those same benefits with USB-C. So although we're making a transition over, there are benefits from a creator standpoint. Like, I love it because obviously I'm going to get a Pro. You're going to get that 20 times speed, 10 gigabits per second to push through these big files. Clearly, iPhone 15 Pro's capabilities as a camera, 4K, 60 frames per second, ProRes video, that is a big deal for creators, and making this phone from a high-end tool, even taking it up to, I don't want to say it, but I'm going to say it, another level. So that's why USB-C is exciting for me. We also have the difference between USB-C on the iPhone 15 versus the 15 Pro. And yes, the iPhone 15, the USB-C transfer speeds are not going to be as fast. They're still pretty much at lightning speeds or US 2.0, where we have the faster speeds on the 15 Pro. Some people out there, like you always see the people that are complaining about, but will it really matter? And to the user at the end of the day, I think most people that know that they're really investing in going into these higher video codecs and using their phone in these ways, they're going to look at the 15 Pros before they look at the 15. So we have this kind of dynamic of users that it is going to suit their needs. My mom, who would never buy a Pro, she's going to get a 15. She's going to be okay. She's never going to even miss the fact that that's happening. So USB-C, a great way to move things forward. It got the biggest response from the crowd during the actual keynote. I was surprised because I almost felt like everyone knows this is coming. It got the loudest response from the crowd and the audience, and that also includes an international crowd. So that tells you how important it is for everyone to have all their devices, all their accessories in the tech space, all use the same connection. So USB-C obviously going to make a big difference for us. Now, I see a lot of comments that are out there. I did a first look at the iPhone 15 Pro, and what is the number one comment that we get? It looks exactly the same. What's so different? I imagine this is how people talk in the comments. But what it comes down to is, like everything, you've got to try it, you've got to hold it, you've got to use it before you could really make a judgment. Because I came into this keynote thinking, iPhone 15 Pro, not many upgrades. Sure, it's going to be a little lighter. I'll tell you, 19 grams lighter in the hand, right? You have the thinner bezels on the display for the Pros that allow it to be a smaller size. 19 grams lighter, titanium frame, this contoured edges. It feels lighter in hand. It feels smoother. It's more comfortable. And everyone that has tried it here has instantly said, ooh, this feels good. That's the first thing you get. The texture of the titanium finish, ooh, it feels nice. And that does mean something. I'm not saying that, hey, you should upgrade right away. That's always going to be up to you where you are on the upgrade cycle. But I feel like Apple's the only company where I see people complain when they aren't given something to buy like immediately right now. It's this weird psychology. I don't know if it's the community, but if they don't give something compelling enough for everyone to buy on the spot, people get mad and it's like, it's the same stuff. Enjoy what you have. Like, we are so lucky to have any type of these things. It's just a weird narrative. Maybe we should change that. Like, if you're ready to upgrade, this makes sense for you. It doesn't make sense for everyone, but I'll tell you, someone who wasn't thinking of upgrading, holding that thing in hand, whew, it's nice. And one of the biggest things is these phones have been getting heavier over time. Some people said, oh, you guys all talk about how something heavy makes it feel premium. It can still be premium and doesn't have to be a heavy brick. Also, the new action button, a lot of talk about, okay, how am I going to deal with that switch? The fact that they have added haptics into it, I can hold it down. You feel this like little triple haptic, like doo-doo-doo, in my pocket that'll tell me that it's going into silent mode. I hold it down again one single time. A single haptic goes boop, and then you know that you're back in the ring mode. That's not the sound it makes. That's the sound that I make. But it's really, it alleviates my worry that, oh, I typically know when I feel in my pocket, it's exactly in the silent spot or the ring spot. So that alleviated that. I do think though that with the action button itself, it's great that we have a customizable action, but I think maybe Apple's teaching us as users a new behavior, a new mechanic with the phone. And what I mean by that is I'd like to do a customized app for, a single tap, whether it's your flashlight, whether it's voice memos, whether it's your camera, but this can go a lot further. I want to be able to do a double tap to access another app. I want to do a triple tap to access a third app. I think that really makes this button even more powerful, but I could understand where maybe they're like, okay, they're easing us into this first, and then maybe next year we'll start being able to do multiple functions and doing a lot more with this single button. That's my hope, and I think that can help elevate it. My mom, yeah, sure, she may or may not use that action button, and it would probably confuse her, but she's also not getting a Pro. So I like the idea of bringing more versatility to it. We talk about versatility, well, then we've got to talk about the camera system. Basically 7 lens if you're talking about going up to the Pro Max. As a creator, right? I'm talking as a creator and someone with, from my experience, this is the ultimate capture tool for a mobile phone. Even if you're talking about, if someone's like a social media manager for a company, the Pro Max is going to do everything they need it to do, and you have so much versatility here. I love, sure, 5x optical zoom. It is not the most optical zoom that we've seen in the industry, but it's going to make a whole lot of difference. I was recently at an LAFC game versus Messi, and I did really want a larger optical zoom, and the 5x is going to do it. Also, people aren't talking about it. You can at least go up to 25x digital zoom on the phone as well. But in addition to all these different lenses and versatility, whether you care about that or not, I think the new functionality of portrait mode, where it automatically captures depth information, depending on when a subject, whether it's a person, a dog, or a cat, appears, and in the corner you'll see this little like F icon. That means it's going to capture all the depth information. That means after the fact, after you take that picture, without you having to go into a dedicated portrait mode, I'm going to be able to edit that picture and choose the depth information, and then be able to run the slider to kind of give that more buttery bokeh effect or not. That's in our phone. Like that is super cool, and I like the fact that I don't have to be I got to go in dedicated portrait mode to do this. It's already that information is already gonna be part of the picture that I already take. So more versatility, more options, mo better. That's not actually a phrase. So I think the thing is, I talk about this iPhone, and if someone here is watching saying there's not that much different on the surface, maybe that's how you like perceive these things. It has to have a new form factor, but a lot of things happening under the hood. Obviously the A17 Pro, interesting how that's the new name for the chip, A17 Pro, to distinguish it. The GPU is incredibly powerful, and we're going to start seeing the dividends of this payoff down the road as more game developers get on. You can really clearly see that Apple is trying to give game developers all the tools possible to break down these walls of the general public saying, okay, I game on an iPhone, I game on a Mac, but really make it a gaming platform destination. I think that's what they're really pushing for. They put the tools out there on the Mac, they put it out here on the iPhone, and we'll see in a few years where they're at after that. So the A17 is a big move, but for me, the way I use my phone, the way I shoot video, from me to my mom, I think more power is always better. We need more overhead to do more things, and I'm never going to complain about more power, but someone like my mom probably won't see it. That's just the reality of it. It just feels like the Pro is creatively targeting the creative even more than ever. So for me, I love that. Okay, let's talk about Apple Watch, and there's a lot of talk around double tap. This is a fascinating feature where people are saying, oh, it's just like accessibility. It actually isn't, because it's doing different things. This is an always on in the background feature. It's taking the app that you're using and the most, what should I say, top of mind functionality and giving it to you in a double tap. So, right, you put out your wrist, I can double tap. The screen does have to be active. It can do things like take phone calls, end phone calls, start timers, use it as a camera, look at the stack of widgets that you have. It does all these things, and it's actually measuring, there is no camera sensor. Think of something like the Apple Vision Pro that has these cameras shooting down that see how your fingers are moving. What it's doing is it's detecting the micro movements, the change in blood flow when you tap your fingers as well, and accelerometer motion, the motions from the accelerometers. That's what it's using to detect this, and then responding in real time. You have this little icon or like a glyph that shows a snap finger. This is something that I am going to absolutely use. Now, I have an Apple Watch Series 7. I didn't upgrade to an 8. I don't know if I'm going to upgrade to a 9 yet. I just really don't know. That's why I do the review. But double tap is a genius feature, and I think it's going to come in really key for a lot of people. Now, there's been a lot of narrative and talk about, okay, well, if I'm double tapping here on my Apple Watch, and if I'm someone who happens to buy the Apple Vision Pro, isn't that going to conflict? And I thought about it because immediately you're like, oh my gosh, there's going to be an issue with that. Think about this. For people that have used the Vision Pro, the main action to select something is actually a single pinch. Not a double pinch, but a single pinch. Or let's call it a tap. A single tap and not a double tap. Now, it was revealed that double tap is part of the gestures that can be used. It has not been assigned yet, but everyone's saying, oh, what's going to happen? Well, think about this. When you're using an Apple Vision Pro, it tracks your eyes. So I have to stare at something and then actually tap it to select it. Well, if you're getting an alert on your Apple Watch, you're going to actually take your gaze off here, look at the Apple Watch, and even if I tap here, I'm not looking at the spatial computing or anything or any of the menus of the OS on the Apple Vision Pro. I'm looking at my watch. So I don't think that's actually going to be a big issue. Also, we'll see how the cameras, maybe the cameras will be able to detect, oh, this person is wearing an Apple Watch. We don't know how it's going to play out. Apple's obviously probably testing it, and this is new hardware, but this idea that, watch out, double tap's going to mess up the Apple Vision Pro, I think that's a little premature. Maybe people are getting excited about it, but it's a different function. You have to stare at something to actually select it before it gets selected. So I'm just throwing it out there. We'll see how this all plays out. We also have, the S9 chip makes this all possible in the Apple Watch, but I think another fascinating thing is the new next-gen ultra-wideband chip in the Apple Watch. They show us the demo how you can find similar devices. Did you guys and gals know that in the last month, there were 40 million pings where someone's trying to find their phone in a month, right? Have you done that with the feature where, you tap here and it locates at least with just that audio buzz? 40 million in a month. And obviously there's a lot of Apple devices out there. So the ability to now be very specific down to the basically inches of where your device is. This only works from watch to phone that has the new ultra wideband chip. So that means Apple Watch Series 9, Apple Watch Ultra 2, to iPhone 15 and iPhone 15 Pro. This will not work from some of the new hardware that was announced today and older phones. And also, they showed a mechanic of using ultra wideband from phone to phone to, let's say, find someone at like a food market or a festival, or let's say Disneyland even, right? You're lost in a crowd. That won't work with the Apple Watch only because the antenna system is different and the range of the antennas on an iPhone 15 Pro and 15 is longer and larger and has more range. So that makes more sense if we're, in a large crowded space to be able to specifically find my friend who's got caught up in the comic booth over at Comic-Con, which does happen a lot. Finally, I think that the AirPods Pro 2 with USB-C, I did an in-depth video about the new functionality about it and how I do feel like the hardware inside, the actual hardware inside these new AirPods Pro 2 with USB-C is different. On the outside, they look the same. The actual AirPods are IP54, so that is now splash and dustproof. That is new. But the ability for these new AirPods Pro 2 with MagSafe to support wireless lossless audio with just the Apple Vision Pro, although they look the same, they are, from a technical standpoint, the hardware inside them, and I'm not talking about the H2 chip inside, I'm talking about the other hardware inside is different that unlocks this lossless audio. I wish that it unlocked lossless audio with your iPhone 15 and your iPhone 15 Pro. You can watch that video to really get a big breakdown because it's going to take like 5 more minutes to talk about it, but it'll be interesting to see how lossless audio plays into future Apple devices and specifically the Apple Vision Pro. One last thing on the Apple Vision Pro that I forgot to touch upon, in conjunction with spatial video. These new iPhones, 15 Pro, can take spatial videos. Now, it was kind of brushed over and mentioned, but I will tell you as someone who's experienced spatial video in the Apple Vision Pro, this is going to be a huge feature. Being able to see 3-dimensional video in a viewer like that whenever you want, like iconic memories. Dude, I wish this phone came out when I got married so I could watch some of the ceremony in spatial video on an Apple Vision Pro. There's something about the intimacy of watching these videos and really feeling like you're transplanted there. And the fact that they're offering these larger storage capacities, iCloud is going up to iCloud Plus is like 12 terabytes of storage. That's for offloading video clips and files that I can then watch on my Apple Vision Pro. So they're planting the seeds here. That tells me that they are preparing us in small ways for the Apple Vision Pro, whether it's getting comfortable with the idea of tapping while wearing an Apple Watch. That is a similar Apple Vision Pro thing. We know it's coming early next year, 2024, but there's still a lot to be excited. Even if the phones don't look completely 100% different, there is so much that happened with them. There's obviously a lot of under the hood stuff that happened with the Apple Watch, and to me, those are the things that just stood out here at Apple's Wonderlust event. And hopefully, you have thoughts. Maybe you agree with me, maybe you don't. There's a reason we got comments. Put them down there, and I will read them. So until next time, take care. Peace and love.